is Al Moncada. I'm the chair for this committee. Tonight we're going to elect a new chair and a new vice chair. So hang on with us until we go to the project on the agenda. I'd like to the secretary to call to order, please. Yeah, roll call, please.
Al Moncada,
Here.
Katie C. Wilbur,
Present.
Shannon McCullough, Scott Berry,
Present.
Terry Burns. We have reached quorum.
Thank you. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. Would you please read the instructions for the meeting?
This meeting is being conducted in person and electronically. The public may participate in the meeting by using the Zoom link provided on the agenda. Please note that all virtual participants will be on mute until they are called upon by the chair, at which point they will be unmuted. If you are a member of the public and would like to comment on an item, use the raise hand function on Zoom. To avoid confusion, please wait for the item you desire to comment on to be called by the chair before electronically raising your hand. For each rent increase application considered by the commission, there will be first a staff presentation, followed by a presentation from the mobile park owner applying for a rent increase. Then a presentation from a representative of the Mobile Home Parks Residents Committee. Comments from the public will then be taken. The Mobile Home Park Owner and Residents Committee representative will each have the right to a final rebuttal presentation prior to the closing of the public hearing. Pursuant to Article 4, Section 14D of the Commission bylaws, available in the City Clerk's office, governing length of public debate, all public testimony from those in support and in opposition of the rent increase application will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The 3 lights on the podium next to the microphone will indicate the amount of time remaining for the speaker. The green light will be turned on when the speaker begins. The yellow light will come on with a soft bell ring when 1 minute is remaining. The speaker should be completing the testimony by the time the red light comes on with a final bell indicating time has expired. All public testimony must be presented to the commission at the podium. Any testimony that references race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, national origin, or any other classification protected under state or federal law in a derogatory manner shall be deemed irrelevant and will not be considered by the Commission in making its determinations.
Thank you. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda. Does the staff has any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
No changes, thank you. Do any of the commissioners want to make a change to the agenda?
No.
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 Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda of today, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Yes, I second.
Thank you. Do we take roll call again, or we just pass it? I'm sorry, I need to ask that question. Yes. Thank you. Well, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. It appears the motion carries. Thank you. General mission. Okay. Administration. Election of the Fresno Mobile Home Park Review and Stabilization Commission chairperson and vice chairperson for fiscal year 2025-2026. Do we have any nominations for the chairperson? Anyone? Commissioners? No?
I vote for Al.
Okay. There's one nomination for me, the chairman. Anybody else?
I second for Al.
Very well then. So would the secretary please take roll call for myself? Yes.
Second.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Oh, thank you. Now we move on to election of the vice chair. May I have a nomination for vice chair, please?
Katie Wilbur.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a nomination for Carrie. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Will you call it for, please? Yes. This one I have to vote for roll.
Aye.
Commissioner McCullough?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilbur?
Aye.
Commissioner Moncada?
Aye.
Commissioner Berry?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the minutes, we're going to next to move to the approval of the minutes from September 10, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Now we move to item number five, consideration 5C, consideration on adoption of the Fresno Mobilehome Park rent review as Stabilization Commission calendar year. Has everyone looked at the calendar, commissioners? All commissioners have looked at it, hopefully?
I'll make a motion to approve the calendar with the same second Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Is there a second, please?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, now we will go into the main item on the agenda, item 5D. Actions pertaining the Country West community, formerly known as Country West Partnership, the owner, rent increase application for Country Living Mobile Home Park. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay. Do any commissioner have a conflict with the application?
Yes, I will recuse myself on agenda item ID 25-1388. My conflict with this item involves a rental interest in real property. The real property at issue is my primary residence. A conflict could arise because the Country West Community LP's rent increases application for Country Living Mobile Home Park could affect my rental interest in real property, which is within the bounds of the Country Living Mobile Home Park.
Yeah.
With that, let us proceed. Staff, city staff, please proceed with your presentation, please.
Did you want to review the procedure first before I go, or?
Oh, okay. To remind everyone of the order of events. First, city staff will present their report and analysis of the application and resident committee response. The park owner or representative will then have the opportunity to give a presentation regarding their application. Then the residents committee or representative will have the opportunity to give a presentation regarding their opposition to the application. The time limit for each of these presentations is 10 minutes. After the presentation, the commission will open the floor to comments for the public. As stated in the beginning of this meeting, our public testimony will be limited to 3 minutes, please. After public comment, the park owner and resident committee will have time for a short rebuttal. If staff needs to summarize, they will have the opportunity to do so after the rebuttals. The hearing will then close and the commission will deliberate. With that, let us proceed. City staff, please present your report and analysis.
All right. Good evening, commissioners. Give us 1 second. We're going to go ahead and get the presentation up on the screen for everyone. While we work on that, I will introduce myself. I am Sarah Papazian. I am the staff liaison to the commission. I work with our code enforcement department, which enforces the Mobile Home Parks Act, so that is why we work with the commission.
We can see the presentation on the screens.
Perfect. All right. Final piece of the puzzle. Let's see if this clicker works. It is not at this time. Yes, okay. So tonight we are discussing the rent increase application for Country Living Mobile Home Parks. It is no longer working. Technology always works until you need it to. So just to give a brief overview, I know we have a couple of new commissioners here with us tonight. In the Fresno Municipal Code Ordinance, which governs the mobile home park rent stabilization, there are 2 types of automatic increases that can be sought each year by a park owner. One of those 2 is based on the consumer price index from the previous year. It's the automatic CPI increase, so you'll hear me refer to that a lot. That is essentially a cost of living increase. That is something that the park owner is allowed to take each year by right. It is not subject to a resident vote. It is not subject to deliberation by the commission. The only time the commission would get involved in that, and has in the past, is if there is a discrepancy with the calculation or with what is being claimed. In this present application, none of that was at issue, so that is something that we will not be discussing, and that will not be in front of you this evening. To note, the amount for this year, the permitted amount was 1.3%. I can just go ahead, and I'll go ahead and put this down, and I'll just go for that. So, in addition to those please go back 1 slide. Please go back 2 slides. So please go forward one slide. Please go forward 2 slides. What? Oh my goodness. Okay, yes, this is where we want to be. Okay, so in addition to those two automatic rent increase amounts, the remainder that the park owner can seek is called the non-automatic amount. They can seek whatever amount they want. They work through a deliberation process with their residents committee. If they cannot come to an agreement or whether they come to an agreement or not, that amount is then presented to the park residents for a vote. If the park residents deny that rent increase amount, it comes before the commission for deliberation on what is a fair, just, and reasonable rent increase in light of all of the factors that they bring before you, something that is fair to both parties. Park owners are asked to identify the relevant factors for you to consider in their yearly application. There is a list of 11 of them found in the Fresno Municipal Code. So the amount that we'll be discussing tonight is from these non-automatic factors. Next slide, please. So each party is asked to submit to you not just raw data, but things that contextualize and explain to you where they're pulling their information from, how they factored in all of these things. What I did to try and make sure that everything that was presented before you this evening would be what you needed to make your decision is I reviewed all the documents and issued a letter to both parties seeking supplemental information, seeking a memo, things that I thought might be things that you would want to see, and gave each party an opportunity to submit that supplemental data to me. Therefore, the commission can feel comfortable making a decision with what is presented to them tonight. Next party, or excuse me, next slide. Okay, so this is the first page of Country Living's rent increase application. As you can see in that subsection A, they established the base average rent as $601.18. There was no argument over that amount, so that $782 is the automatic amount that is theirs by right due to the CPI increase. What we are going to be discussing tonight is in that subsection C, the 3707 that they are claiming under one factor from the Fresno Municipal Code, which is the completion of capital improvements. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, the owner identified that one relevant factor, which was the completion of any capital improvements or rehabilitation work. The owner's application cited one source, one capital improvement was identified, and that was the repaving of the roads throughout the park. In their initial application, they submitted several invoices, several letters that they had sent to the city as well as the residents talking about the repaving, and some documents from a loan that they got from the bank, part of which was allocated to the repaving. The city sent out, please go back a couple slides. One more. There we go. So when the city sent out that request for supplemental information, what we received from the owner was a 2017 invoice for pothole patching. We had requested a memo with a bit more information. Unfortunately, the only thing that we received as supplemental information was the 2017 invoice for pothole patching. Next slide, please. So the thing that this came down to is analyzing, is it a capital improvement? Was the repaving a capital improvement, or was it a repair for ordinary wear and tear? The reason that this impacts your analysis as commissioners is a capital improvement is a valid factor as listed in the Fresno Municipal Code to be considered when you're determining what is fair, just, and reasonable for both parties. But repairs due to ordinary wear and tear are in fact explicitly omitted from things that you should be considering. Subsection H, as you'll read there, the factor that can be considered is the need for repairs caused by circumstances other than ordinary wear or tear. You've skipped so many pages. I need you to go back. You're still pushing so many buttons. All right. Nope, that is good. So, thank you for bearing with me. So, where the definition for what a capital improvement is came from the Fresno Municipal Code in that mobile home ordinance, and it's essentially an addition or betterment made to a mobile home park. It has to be more than a repair, replacement, or rehabilitation of something existing, and it has to be something that's required to be amortized over its useful life under United States income laws. Next slide, please. So those first two factors are relevant in this matter. First off, more than a repair, replacement, or rehabilitation of an existing facility or improvement. The project that we're discussing here is the repaving of the roadways after 30 years. In a letter to the city, which was part of the property owner's application, they explicitly stated the roads were repaved as they have not been repaved in 30 years. There was no argument or evidence submitted saying otherwise. Therefore, it's fairly clear that this is a repair of an existing improvement, which doesn't meet the standards of a capital improvement. On the second factor, that it needs to be amortized over its useful life by the income tax laws of the U.S., I had a lot of fun diving into the Internal Revenue Code. What I discovered was under the Code of Federal Regulations, what this project would be a restoration, improvement of real property. That is something that has to be capitalized. Under those same regulations, any cost that has to be capitalized has specific listed recovery methods, such as depreciation. Amortization is not one of the listed recovery methods. So under the second standard, it also fails to meet the criteria for a capital improvement. Next slide, please. So that's one thing for you to consider as you're determining what is fair, just, and reasonable. Is any portion of this something that should be passed on to the residents because of the capital improvement versus repair definition? Now getting into the actual amount as calculated, staff started with the number as was presented, basically the highest threshold number that owner presented throughout their documentation. And then as we noticed discrepancies, we recalculated. So what you see on this first page comes right from page 11 of the owner's application. We took the loan amount, which was that $680,000. We factored in a 7% compounding interest over 15 years, divided that by 15 years, monthly payments, and the spaces in the park as listed on that page. And that is that $35.38 monthly amount per space. Next slide. So the first of the three discrepancies that we noticed was there is an issue with the title fees. In the, I believe in page 12 of owner's application, they attributed a $17,000 title fees to the amount that would then be divided among the residents. Looking at the loan documents, page 13, unfortunately, I was not able to get a more legible copy from the owner, but when it is increased in detail, you can see that that amount highlighted on the left is $14,000 and some change. Now, on page 16, it shows that that $14,000 of title fees is attributed to a loan that in its entirety was $940,000. Only $680,000 of that amount was allocated to repaving. I was not able to get information about what the remainder was for, but only a portion of that full amount was for the repaving. So if I could go to the next slide. What I did, you can see on the top is how the owner had it calculated on page 12 of their application with that $17,000 title fee. The second calculation amount that you see is recalculated with a proportional percentage of the $14,000 as showed in the loan documents that would be attributed to the actual amount that was for the road repaving. So you can see that dropped it from $37.07 per space to $36.67 per space. If I could have the next slide. There was also an issue with the park spaces as used in the calculation. Park owner used 173 spaces. However, looking at page 17 of their application where they have to account for each and every space, there's 195 spaces in the park. I was also able to corroborate this with county records with the assessor's office, as well as each year they have to submit a permit for their permit to operate. They have to submit an application, and they cited 195 spaces there as well. I believe the discrepancy is due to, on that form, they had 17 units that were listed as vacant, as well as 5 that had been subject to a new lease within the past year. The only problem with that is discussing a cost that's going to be spread out over 15 years, excluding 23 of them due to the circumstances of this one particular moment, is disproportionately placing 100% of the burden on 89% of the park spaces, which, as the ordinance is silent to this, using general principles of equity, disproportionately places the burden on the remaining spaces. If I could see the next slide. So you can see here, we ran a recalculation. This calculation is still factoring in the reduced proportional title fees that I previously discussed. We have now accounted for 195 spaces in the park as listed on page 17. That brings us down to 3253. If I could see the next page. The last discrepancy of the 3 that staff noticed, and actually this was brought to our attention in the residence supplemental memo, the loan repayment terms. The park owner essentially informed residents that they would be permitted to cover this cost over the course of 15 years, but they will actually be paying the bank over the course of 10 years. So when you are factoring compounding interest, that makes a huge difference, whether you are accounting for what the owner is actually going to be paying to the bank versus the 15 years that they have agreed that the cost can be spread out among. So you can see the reason that I am saying that, staff is fairly confident that it is a 10-year loan term. On pages 14 and 15, you can see the maturity date lists May 2035. Additionally, in a more clear visual on page 16, that highlighted amount where it says the due date is, again, a May 2035 date. So we're talking about it will be 10 years that the loan will be repaid to the bank. If I could see the next slide. So when we factor that amount in, you can see it has a significant impact, well in 6 figures. If we're looking at the interest at 7.339 over the 10 years compounded monthly. So that is what the owner will be repaying. So that total amount, proportional amount of the loan dedicated to repaving is that number that you see there. Again, we're dividing it by 180 still because the owner had said you will be repaying this over 15 years. So 15 years monthly payments, total spaces of 195. That brings it down to 2785 per space. And again, you can see, thank you for bearing with me. I know that there were quite a few calculations. This is all predicated on the idea if the commission determines that this is a capital improvement, something that should be considered under the just, fair, and reasonable factors. If I could see the next slide. So there were a couple of novel arguments brought up by the residents that I wanted to highlight for you as well. I'm sure they will do it in greater detail during their presentation. First, there was an argument that the roadways were not irreparable in their current state. They simply needed some maintenance in certain places. In support of that, in their supplemental memo, they did actually submit a community statement that they had 128 signatures from 127 lots in the park attest to that. And that was from pages 55 to 66 of their memo. Unfortunately, neither side was able to give me photographs that I could provide to you just to see if I could give you a more robust analysis. Country Living was subject to a proactive maintenance inspection by code enforcement in 2023. And when we do these maintenance inspections, our inspectors go out and they proactively look at all aspects of the park, and any substandard conditions are noted on a notice of violation that's sent to the responsible party. I pulled the notice of violation that was issued to the park owner of Country Living at that time, and there were no violations listing substandard roadway conditions in that. That is the type of thing that, if it had been noted at that time, would be included. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you that information as well. Next slide, please. Residents also presented information arguing that the overall factors listed in the Fresno Municipal Code weighed against any additional amount over that automatic CPI amount. They pointed to 2 parks Ashwood and Millbrook Mobile Home Village, citing their locations and the fact that they are also subject to the ordinance by having an active residence committee. After looking through city records, staff will concur those are the two closest that are subject to the ordinance. Next slide. So in order to account for the fact that certain parks have utilities included and other parks don't, the residents created an average value to use for utilities. When they made that equation, they provided they cited their sources for where those numbers were coming from and how they were calculating it. It overall seemed reasonable, so staff utilized it in this chart as well. Residents essentially argued that these parks are similarly situated, they have similar amenities, they are overall similar. The fact that they are on par with each other rent-wise indicates that the park owner is getting a reasonable rate of return already with just the CPI increases. They also argued that if you look at it in the totality, owner has taken that automatic CPI increase each year over the past 9 years. That is a 24% increase, which is sufficient to cover, cost of living increases for reasonable operation and maintenance expenses. Next slide, please. And that is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions I can answer for you at this point?
I don't have any.
No questions. I just appreciate the report that you've put together, and how it's been presented this year is very helpful and appreciated.
Happy to help.
No questions from my end.
Well, I'm just to clarify,
Yes.
what was the original loan? What was the original loan amount? The original loan amount this owner borrowed?
The original amount that the owner sought?
Yes.
The original amount that the owner sought on their application, excluding the CPI amount, was $37.07 per spot.
No, I'm talking about the loan amount in total, the business loan that he got.
The loan amount in its totality, the loan was $940,000, and $680,000 of that was for the repaving.
Now, you mentioned that it's a 15-year payment plan with a 10-year due date.
Yes.
Okay, good. So in the calculations that we did we subtract those 5 years of loan? Because basically what he's doing is a 15-year loan due in 10. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to pay interest for 5 years.
Exactly, yes. So if you look at the staff report,
yes,
you'll see the last series of calculations factors in the fact that they will be repaying the bank for 10 years, so the total amount is only going to meet that amount for 10 years of compounded interest, not 15.
Well, my last question. On the note for the business loan, did it show, I'm not familiar with business loan, does it show that it has a prepayment penalty or not?
I could not find that information. I will say the documents from the loan that were submitted it was not the documents in its totality, it was just select pages from it. Mm-hmm. So from the pages that were submitted on the application, I did not see that.
Okay, all right. No, the reason why I asked that is because the owner could turn around tomorrow and sell the property, and then that rent is going to stay mm-hmm. for the new owner who can just keep it or additions to it. So that was my concern. All right, well, thank you. Very, very well presented. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And now we're going to move to the park owner presentation. Is the park owner available?
I believe the park owner is available on the Zoom, so let me just see. Brenda, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you're going to have, and you're the park owner, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. So I want to make sure that you understand clearly too that, Country Living Mobile Home Park, the streets have been provided essentially access for residents, emergency service, and utility companies and visitors. Over time, these roads have experienced significant damage, especially from repeated utility work over the last few years. Proper maintenance is critical for the safety, accessibility, and the overall appearance of our neighborhoods. The street repairs are not just a matter of convenience, they're an investment in the community's future. When roads are newly paved and well-maintained, the neighborhood looks cleaner, safer, and more welcoming. This directly increases the value of the mobile homes, making the area more attractive to potential buyers and appraisers. Studies show that communities with improved infrastructure see higher property values and faster sales. While residents benefit from increased property value and improved daily living conditions, ensure safe and smooth roadways, protect and grow property values, support the long-term stability of the community, prevent higher future costs for making timely repairs. So we made repairs now because with we had done slurry sealing previously on the roads. But we couldn't do that anymore according to the builders. They said we needed to replace the roads. So I believe we take pride in our neighborhood and do not want to see as neglectful property owners who will allow things to deteriorate. Maintaining our streets reflects the pride and responsibility we share as a community. We ask the city to recognize our responsibility in maintaining these private access roads. At the same time, we encourage residents to participate and approach so that every resident who benefits from these improvements helps support them. Together, we enhance our community's appearance and protect the value of each home. According to what you had said previously too, I want to say that it was a lot of damage done from utility companies that we had to do the work on the roads. We were looking, I'm not planning on selling this property ever. I hope to plan to give it on to my children at some point. And I'm putting money into the park so that everyone has a nicer place to live. I've lived in mobile home parks most of my life. That's why I wanted to own the mobile home park, and I want to share that with all of you. I thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Do it. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we hear. This is the
Okay.
chair. Do anybody has any questions for the park owner?
No questions at this time.
No questions?
No questions for the owner. So we're going to move to the next step to see the representatives for the mobile home park. To do a presentation, please.
I'm ready. Hello, my name is Leonda Johnson. I'm the chairperson for the Residents Committee at Country Living Mobile Home Park. I just wanted to speak to you about the position that the mobile home Residents Committee has during and about the road work that was done in July of this year and added to the application. We created this memo based off of the meetings that we've had and different things that we have researched, but also mainly off of the article itself for the rent stabilization and rent control that we're under. Regarding this, we had previously asked to have negotiations to speak to the owner twice by writing, twice verbally, and we did not receive any communication about having a phone call or anything that would have significant face-to-face or back-to-forth. We received a letter from her that said that we had requested repayment options, which we did not do. We requested to negotiate. And in that, the way that she had worded it, it felt like we were only going to get this letter as our communication with her for negotiation. The last line in this letter said to please review these options carefully for discussion and selection. So we went with what we felt was going to be the best for the residents, which was the 15 years, as that was the only options that we had. And we didn't feel that we could delay the timeline any further for bringing it to the residents. So we brought it to the residents. We had 93 ballots went out for all of our affected residents that came. We had 91 come back as a rejection. Overall, everyone that we have spoken to as the committee has rejected this. As far as feeling that it was necessary or that the roads were unfixable. Now, we did get to have a communication call with her after we had a phone call from Sarah Papazian explaining that we needed to actually have a meet. During that phone call with her for negotiations, that's when it was stated to us a few things that we were not able to come to any kind of understanding. She had stated that the roads were unrepairable. All of them were unrepairable, which is why she chose to redo the entire surface of all of the roads. As we had put in our packet for our memo, we had all of those signatures from the residents that we were able to contact, and we had overwhelming people saying that was not the case. That is not how they felt. While there were spots that needed repair, it was not unlivable. It was not unsafe. There was no problems driving or walking to get to and from the common facilities or for emergency access. One of the things she had also stated to us when we asked the reason that she had listed it as capital improvement and not as maintenance was that her CPA had told her that because of the time frame, that was how she could list it. And she had also said that Sarah Papazian had told her she could list that as well. We specifically asked if this was something that she had asked before she put the application to us as the Residents Committee, and she had said yes. We are uncertain if that is true or not. And then regarding the repayment of the loan, we specifically made sure to ask that we were being asked to repay this full loan amount that she had gotten, where she had added all of the fees and the titling onto this $940,000 loan and given it to have the residents pay back over 15 years, but she was going to pay it back in 10 years. Her answer to that was yes, that she's paying it back in 10, but she's letting us pay it back in 15. That is an extra $166,188.93 of interest that she is trying to pass on to the residents here. That's not something that, that falls very closely under something that might be illegal or fraudulent. And that's something that the Residents Committee had discussed, and we were very upset about that position as well. We have several supporting documents that we had about the reason that we are listing this as maintenance and not capital improvement. All of the work that was done was resurfacing of the roads. There was slurry sealing that was not listed in the Anderson construction invoices or scope of work that was given to us. The slurry sealing was done and repainting of parking lines. There was repainting of the red curbs with markings saying fire lane, no parking, and our addresses on all of those. That was the work that was completed, along with some speed bumps as well. All of that work, the Rent Committee views as maintenance based off of the definition in Article 20, Section 12, 2003. That shows that capital improvement for mobile home parks under our ordinance is for more than repair, replacement, or rehabilitation of existing facilities or improvement. It also, the mobile home residency law also has that it's required maintenance of the owner to keep those common facilities on our roadways maintained. That's something she has to do for regarding our roads from the mobile home residency law. Also, there are Fresno City Department Fresno Fire Department Prevention Manual and Fresno Municipal Codes that show that fire lane markings and our addresses, they're required for her to do. That's not something that's a capital improvement, that is required. So she has to keep that up and she has to keep it maintained. One of the things that we had noted was that in the Anderson Construction scope of work and the invoice provided to us from the owner was that on their website they make a distinction between new asphalt paving and removal and replacement. Their invoice and scope of work show that the work that was done was to the existing drainage plan and existing markings. No part of the work done added anything new or changed anything from our existing infrastructure. The City of Fresno Street Maintenance and Landscaping Division website also lists that doing work on existing roadways and maintaining them for pothole repair, resurfacing, and slurry sealing are considered road maintenance. We also wanted to list the Section 12, 2012H of the article where it talks about ordinary wear and tear and the fact that she's owned our park for 9 years and has deferred maintenance. We were not aware of the invoice other than the one invoice that was listed in the supplemental for this meeting here. Other than that, the only road work that has been done in a major section was from PG&E when they had come through and replaced our gas lines, and they replaced and repaired all of the sections that they had ripped up. So in addition to all of these reasons, we believe that just, fair, and reasonable return on investment for the owner has been and continues to be met, which should allow for regular maintenance of our park. Ms. Papazian had mentioned that other two mobile home parks. I had spoken to the managers on phone and in person and used information available to me from code enforcement. Ashwood Place and Millbrook Village were the two that are closest to us and comparable under the ordinance. Because they're comparable, we are having that, we have the position that a just, fair, and reasonable return of investment for the owner is already, already being met. And that is for Section 12, 2002, and also 12, 2012C and K. Also, we had noted that the park owner for the last 9 years has taken the full CPI amount that she's allowed, which is a 24% increase for cost of living. That increase that she's taken should be enough to cover changes to reasonable operating and maintenance expenses. That's Section 12, 2012G is listed in the fair and reasonable. Based on the community statements and the fact that we haven't received any complaints as the residents committee about the roadways or anything like that, we also believe that Section 12, 2012I is not a factor to increase our rent. We're concluding that the road maintenance done to the current road infrastructure cannot be listed as capital improvement on the owner's application. We ask that the non-automatic rent increase request of $37.07 per affected space be denied in full by the Commission. Our rent should not be raised to cover required safety and regular maintenance of the roads that should be been ongoing for the last 9 years that she has owned the park. We also find it wrong that she didn't want to negotiate any section of her request and instead is asking us to pay back all of the loan and the fees with an extra 5 years of interest, even though she is not doing that. I want to thank you for your time and appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question.
Yes.
For you, and then I have a question for Ms. Aguilar, if she's still with us. What amount did you say was the additional 5 years? You calculated that amount of interest, the additional 5 years of interest?
The additional 5 years of interest, I used an amortizing calculator on the internet because it was amortized interest. That was $166,188.93 for 5 years of interest past the 10-year mark.
Thank you. Ms. Aguilar, are you still with us? The owner. Is she still with us?
Yeah, but, yes, the owner is still available, but, how do you want to do the procedure?
Are we okay with letting you speak again?
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Aguilar, are you on with us?
But,
Hello?
hi,
Is Brenda?
Brenda. Yes, we can show you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the reason for the 3 different options was that they wanted different options for it. And they wanted, the original amount was going to be like $47 for 10 years, and it was way too much for the residents. I was trying to help them out by giving them an option with 3 years, which then it's fair that there's interest to be paid if it has to be longer, because I have to pay the amount in a shorter period of time. And there was no negotiation because they didn't have anything to suggest at the time we had our meeting. I gave things to work off of, but they had no response.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. I had a question for you. Does your business loan has a prepayment penalty?
Yes, it does.
So in other words, you will still be paying at the end of the 10 years.
Right.
So you had to pay the entire amount, including the interest
Yes.
of the loan? Okay, thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to clarify the procedure for a second. So we had staff give presentation, we had the park owner provide a presentation, and then we had the residents committee provide their opposition as well. I think let's hold off on questions because there is time for questions from the commission at the end. So I think the next step in the hearing is now that everyone has given their presentation to take public comment, and then we can circle back. Yeah.
Thank you. You may have a seat. Now we're going to take comments from folks. Oh yeah, folks from on the audience, and I have some cards here. Let's see. First one would be C. Lee. Is that correct? Or is it Sue Lee? See, thank you. You may approach. You have 10 minutes, please. I'm sorry, 3 minutes. Appreciate it.
Hello. Do I start? Okay, thank you. My name is Celie, and I live at Country Living Mobile Home Park, where I am a resident. These actions that the park owner is taking, they've caused severe stress and financial hardship and fear among the residents who simply wish to just live peacefully and exercise their rights under California's mobile home residency law. The residents at the park have a legal right to get a copy of their rental agreements under MRL 798.15, yet the management there has made this process an unnecessary burden for the tenants when they request their agreements. They are told to provide proof of unrelated documentation, such as tax payment or property title, and then receive no further response once they provide that to the park management. This appears to be an intentional effort to withhold information and obstruct tenant rights at the mobile home park we live in. Such conduct prevents residents from understanding the terms of their leases or verifying whether new rules and rent increases are lawful or unlawful at the park. Management has begun enforcing new park rules that they claim are directed by the owner. However, these rules have never been distributed in writing, nor have they been incorporated into the original rental agreements. When questioned, management refuses to provide any paperwork. These unilateral rule changes are not authorized under MRL 798.25, which requires proper notice and documentation for any changes affecting tenancy. Perhaps the most concerning is the atmosphere of fear that they've now created at the mobile home park that now exists in our community. Many of the
Your time
residents
has expired.
are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Many of the residents are too afraid to attend meetings or speak up, fearing retaliation from the government, not the government, but the management or the owner. I can personally attest that I have been targeted after voicing concerns about these unethical practices. Since raising concerns, I have experienced increased scrutiny and hostility from park management. This makes it hard for other park tenants to even understand what their rent increases are because they won't even give us our rental agreements to let us know what we're entitled to have at the park or know anything about what we should be what we should have as a legal right to do or have at the park. That's basically what I just wanted to say. Sorry.
Thank you. Next one would be Christian Diaz. You have 3 minutes, sir.
I actually feel like the ladies here have done an excellent job of laying this case out. But one of the things I would like to point out is if you look at the packet that she had given you in the initial estimates, and you would actually see that the word resurfacing was used as a service that was estimated upon. And that's important because at one point we were in here we had said that she had repaved the roads. But the construction of a road is not just the surface of the road. There's like so much more to it. The curbs, the underlayment, the rebar, all of the other things you have to do that cost a significant amount of money. And by looking at the actual initial estimates is what she had sent us, as I'm the vice chair of the rental committee. If you look at that, you will see they specifically used the word resurfacing in there. So there's almost no question as to what service she had been provided. And then there's actually a civil code for it. It's 798.31 that specifically states that you cannot resurface your road and then pass that on to your tenants. So, and that's already been adjudicated, like already. There's actually several adjudications that, if you actually go through this case, you'll find that it greatly sides in the direction of the tenants in this case. And then one of the other things I wanted to bring up, besides the atmosphere of fear and things like that from the residents, as you can see, there's almost nobody here because people are absolutely scared of retribution. These people have been denied their rights before. There's been other rent increases, the same exact thing has happened, and they did not have this together. So I'm actually very grateful that you guys are even hearing this in the first place, because for these people, this is their home. For her, this is just a business. And if she wants to talk about property values and such like that, for every $100 you raise the rent somewhere, you decrease the value of that property by thousands. So these people trying to leave, in that case, would be obstructed in that case, because they would lose thousands of dollars in values of their home that they would then have to try to put together to go somewhere else, And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now have Manuel Miranda.
Oops, sorry. Yes. Well, man, about the past 5 years, we had almost, with this $37, we're going to almost be paying $200 a month more in 5 years, you know. Some of it, they said it's improvements, but it's they're supposed, like the street lamps, they were supposed to be every 50 feet. They put new ones in and said we had to pay for them. Different things, paying the office and stuff. The roads are good. They were good. There were no potholes, nothing. And then, like the owner said, that she wants to pass it on to her children to make it look better in there. Come look at the park. There's a lot of neglect of the park. You know, dead grass during the summertime, high up and everything. Cigarette catches that on fire, is going to be about 5 or 6 mobile homes going to go down. They're not regulated on that. They don't. They finally start watering the lawns because of the rain and everything during the summer. All the rain, you know, they just do this, charging us for things that they should upkeep over the years. You know, they're neglecting a lot of it. But the roads, there wasn't nothing wrong with the roads. I hate to say that our roads were better than the freeways and the Fresno City roads. You know, there wasn't no bumps or nothing. Yeah, there were little cracks and stuff, but not enough to put a whole new road in. All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, of the people present, Sally Ziegler. Ziegler, did I pronounce your name properly? Did I pronounce your name properly, last name? Thank you.
I'd like one thing considered on that bill. 5 years ago, we were hit a capital improvement because she added parking lots. I live across the street from the clubhouse. And we had originally 16 spaces, 8 on this side of the clubhouse and 8 on this side. When she did those capital improvements, that's 16. She put the parking lot in that's straight across from my park. There's 16 spaces. She put 16 in on the other side, but she charges people to park there. Okay, so I didn't even understand why we were paying for that anyway. But what I've watched over the 5 years is no one, because she has a tow company that comes in and tows, so people are afraid. It's for guests only, so people are afraid to park there because they're afraid they're going to be towed. On an average, in a whole week, you might see 5 or 6 cars parked in that parking lot. Now I get the point. Oh, and the point I'm trying to make is that was just put in brand new 5 years ago. If the cost of resurfacing all of that is in this bill, it shouldn't be, because it's only been 5 years since it was brand new. It didn't need to be resurfaced. This one over here and the one across the street at the mailboxes is hardly used. So I don't even know why it needed to be surfaced or repaved or whatever they did to it, because it wasn't used. It's not worn out. It didn't need any work. And because I live across from the office, I see that every day. Also, the one over on the other side that they pay for, that was, even though it's used, there was no damage whatsoever to it. So I don't know how that could be calculated into the costs of this work that she just recently did, because it wasn't needed. It's not used. Also, the whole park is afraid of her and the owner, the manager and the owner. As for amenities, we don't have amenities. She closes up everything at 5 o'clock so she can go home. I have requested that she give us more because the law says that's supposed to be given to us during reasonable hours. Closing up at 5 o'clock when most people are just getting off of work is not reasonable hours. Those are the kind of things that she does to everybody. She says, too bad, because I've asked her and she'd say, too bad. If you need the laundry room, you have to do it while we're here because we're not leaving it open, even though I've offered to lock it up afterwards. There are a lot of things that they do that tenants are paying for in one way or another, either monetarily or just because they're afraid. But those parking lots did not need to be tarred or resurfaced or whatever she did to them. I don't know about the ones in the back of the park, because I'm not back there. I know that the two major ones and the one by the mailbox did not need any work. None, no lines, no blacktop, whatever they did to them, because they're not used. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone on Zoom to question?
If you'd like to speak on Zoom, please raise your hand. At this moment, I do not have anybody on Zoom that would like to speak for 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Let me double check, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I do not have any raised hands.
Thank you. Would the park owner like to provide a rebuttal?
Brenda,
this
would you like to speak for 3 minutes?
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time, and we try to do the best we can to be able to have a really nice park for the residents. And that's is what I consider is that everyone deserves a nice place to live. And I want to do that for the residents, and I always have. And we do our best to get all the paperwork or whatever they want. And everyone's given copies of all their when they come into the park, and if they lose it, then they can request another one. So we do have systems in place for all that, and for getting rules and regulations, you can always ask for that. And we just want the residents to help us out too by keeping their areas clean too. Thank you very much. Bye.
Would the Residents Committee Chair like to rebuttal?
Thank you. I would just like to reiterate the fact that the residents do appreciate having management and an owner that takes pride in the park, and that we do appreciate that the roads have been resurfaced. But unfortunately, appreciating that doesn't mean that we are required to pay that back. With the 24% increase for CPI, for cost of living, that should more than cover what she could have been doing over the last 9 years. One street a year would have been something that she could absorb into her business plan or a long-term maintenance plan. And considering the fact that in her letter she had stated this park has been in her family, she knew the condition before she became the owner of it. So having come into being the owner 9 years ago, knowing the conditions of the roads and not having a plan, but instead deferring the maintenance by stating that there were other facilities coming in and damaging it when they are responsible for fixing it and have fixed it, I think that is an unfair way to categorize this as capitalization when all it was just a repair that's been deferred. And that deferring made it cost more for her, and that is not our responsibility as the residents. And then as far as her speaking about the property values, we do not own the property. We rent the use of the property. The property value applies only to her. We cannot get a second mortgage based on the property value, only on our mobile home value, which is our responsibility to keep up. Our responsibility is not the road, as the road is not something we can add to our value of property in the park itself. And then that's what I'd like to say in rebuttal, and I again thank you for your time very much.
Thank you. We will now close the hearing. Would any commissioner like to ask questions or comments on this item?
I have no questions.
Did staff want to provide a final summary? I think that was the last thing before.
I'm sorry, I forgot about you, Sarah. You would like to make some final comments?
I promise I'll keep it very short. I just wanted to give one last general overview of what is before you tonight. As I had mentioned previously, that $7.82, that's the annual CPI. That is something that is not contested, and they have the right to do so. We're looking at just that 3707 amount that was listed for the non-automatic amount under those factors. So in each of your binders, you should have a copy of the property owner's application. If you look at page 3 of that application, that's their form that they submitted. The bottom half has that list of 11 factors. So if you do need to review as you're deliberating, if you want to double check what are those things that under the Fresno Municipal Code are within the purview to consider, that might be a great resource for you to do so. Because at the end of the day, in light of everything that you've heard today, everything that you've read, the goal is to determine what is something that is fair, just, and reasonable for all parties utilizing these 11 factors. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now we will close the hearing. Would any commissioners like to ask questions or comment on this item?
I don't have any.
I have no questions at this time.
Yes, I was curious, is the owner still on the line?
Would you like to?
Yes, I just had a question. In the underwriting of your loan, sorry.
Hold on. Brenda, can you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. In the underwriting of your loan, did you assume the proposed rent increase for your ability to repay the loan, or was your current operating income sufficient to cover the debt service?
The loan was based on the income of it, but we did it so that we could, according to Sarah, said that we should submit it for approval before the end of the time period. Because she said we should submit it as a capital improvement.
Okay, but for the bank's ability to determine if you'd be able to repay the loan, I'm assuming they didn't take into account potential rent increases, but what your current operating income is, correct?
Yes, and also my other properties too. They took that all into consideration too.
Understood. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Actually, I do, for the owner. I'll make my note here. Here we go. You mentioned that what you did with the work you did on the street, on the road, would increase the value of the property. Do you got an appraisal or anything like that after you did all the work on the property? Was there an appraisal that would show that actually the value went up, or giving a little bit of credit? Ms. Aguilar?
Brenda, can you hear? Oh, Brenda, can you go ahead?
Okay, so the reason for that was, can you restate what you said?
No, do you do an appraisal after the work was done to show that the property did actually go increase in value from the prior to having the work done?
No, I did not do that because I'm not worried about the value of my property,
Okay.
the land. I'm worried about the value of the mobile homes too.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now the commissioners will deliberate on the matter.
I would start by saying that, I think based on the information presented, and the owner herself multiple times referred to it as repairs and maintenance, this request does not appear to be just or fair, as it is not capital improvements or rehabilitation work. The codes are clear. The park owner herself called them repairs and maintenance. So for that reason, I would be making a motion to not approve any additional increase outside of the normal CPI increase.
Is there another commissioner?
Yes, I would say since this fails to meet both standards and that it's not a capital improvement and it can't be amortized, there were also discrepancies with the title fee, the parking, and the loan term difference. I think just by definition, this does not meet capital improvement. So the 782 that is not disputed, obviously, not that my vote matters on that, but that seems reasonable. But anything beyond that, I don't agree with.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I agree with my fellow commissioners as far as not meeting the definition of capital improvement. It's a three-legged stand, and she only has one leg. But I agree with the CPI increase. That's fair. So I'm inclined to deny this motion. Oh, they already.
I made a motion to finding one, option 3, which is no additional rent increase is fair and just or reasonable. So I'd be looking for a second to that.
Actually, I was going to ask you to call the motion because I wanted to hear everybody else. Is there a second, please?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, would you please roll call? Thank you.
Chair Moncada,
Aye.
Vice Chair Wilbur,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Berry.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Jesus Christ, what happened to my sheet? Thank you. Staff, do we have any information or reports for this meeting?
We have no informational reports.
Very well, thank you. Any reports by the commissioners?
No reports at this time.
Do we have any continued items from last year? Okay, thank you. Okay, unscheduled oral communications. Would any member of the public like to speak on any issue within the jurisdiction of this commission? You do? Come forward, please. Any issue with the jurisdiction of this commission, within our jurisdiction?
Okay, so previously there was also a rental increase pushed through the same exact way by the previous rental committee. During one of the meetings, actually, several of the committee members actually basically just walked off the committee or were voted off. And the rental committee you guys see before you were almost entirely voted in at that time. We are not able to figure out if the last time they had pushed one of these increases for the same exact reasons that these people are coming forward. I'm not sure of the exact amount of the previous increase, but it is the same exact situation. And someone had actually brought up some of the repairs, the parking lots that were paved and then charged to the tenants and things like that. So is there some way for these people to bring that case in front of you guys the same way they just did this case? And even if they're not able to get their money back that they've already paid into it, if we can stop those payments or that increase, in lieu of a positive judgment on your end?
Thank you. Appreciate everyone coming tonight. Go ahead, ma'am. You can approach, you can speak to a microphone.
My name is Sally Ziegler. In reference to what he just spoke about, right after the capital improvements were put on us 5 years ago, I got a hold of the city to see if I could have something done because I noticed a lot of the things on the list just shouldn't have been called capital improvements. At that time, I was told we did not have a rent committee, so it would not be addressed. But I have since found out we've had a rent committee since 1988. So I couldn't get the city to help me then. And I called, I talked to Montelago, I talked to our city councilman, I talked to everyone. We had things like almost $700 or $800 for 15 rose bushes. We had a backflow thing that's required by law. We had curb painting that's required by law since for years. We had parking on the street everywhere. There are so many things on that list that should never have been included as a capital improvement. I could not get the city to address it because of the fact that they said we didn't have a rent committee until the city took over the parks. That's why I'd like to back him up on finding out if there's anything we can do about it, because I did address the problem right after it happened, right after we got the capital improvement. There are so many things on that list we should not be being charged for, just like this time. And so, yeah, I'd like to back him up to find out if there's any way that we can go back because of the mistake of saying that we didn't have a rent committee. 2 years I fought for that. And for 2 years I was told there was nothing we could do. So I'd like to know also from what he said, if there's any way we can go back to prove that most of the things on that $750,000 worth of capital improvements we're paying for, that we should not have been charged for. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I just have a quick comment. So the rental committee before this rental committee was voted in during COVID, and they had no park members show up to this rental committee to vote in the committee members. 2 of those committee members are related to the park manager. So that just tells you right there that anything that they wanted to vote it in, they would have just voted in at the time. Because most of the members, like he had stated before, when we actually did a rent committee vote, some of them just walked off, and then some of them didn't even show up because they understood at that time that now the park residents are present to actually make a vote, and the people who were on the committees before were doing us dirty. So I just wanted to make that quick comment.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right. Couple of things I did say last time. The owner don't come around to see with the park. She put the manager as the boss there, and you try to get a hold of the owner or the company, you have to go through her, and she won't let you go through her and give her the phone number or nothing. But, all right, I'm changing. Like last year, our rent went up $40. That's how much my Social Security went up. Didn't leave anything else for anything. Okay, here's the prices that they raised in 5 years ago for the lights and all that stuff, and painting the lights were $93,000. Like I said, by your standards, the lights have to be every 50 feet. Ours was every 200 feet because they were breaking them off or taking them out, and the middle walkway didn't have no lights. And back then I was able to walk You know, I was a pretty bad guy. I wanted to walk through there. It was so dark, you know. But I got a whole list where they went up $40 then, back in 2020. All the capital improvement, it says capital improvement and stuff, and how much we're paying. You want a copy? I'll give you a copy. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Hey.
Sarah, our legal, I have a question before I call for adjournment. Could you explain to the mobile homeowners what the next step is going to be since the commission denied the owner's petition? I think there's a little bit of confusion. Is the rent going to increase or not? We would deny the petition. So what will be the next step for these folks to know?
I think it's probably best for staff to address that question.
Okay, so what was on the table? And I feel weird. The microphone's here, and you all are here. So thank you for bearing with me. What was at hand tonight? Look at this. Was the 2025 rent increase application? And please correct me, Jennifer, if I get anything wrong here. So because the finding number 3 was found, which was that no additional amount would be fair, just, or reasonable. So the rent will go up by the automatic CPI amount, which was that $782. And the formal decision will also notate that, you know, under the civil code, they have to give you the proper notice for when that will start. As far as what happened in the past, the commission unfortunately can't reach back into those past years.
Sarah, I think, so I think that like a general statement about, you know, the commission made its finding, notice will be mailed. In the materials are provided, it was option number 3 that the commission went with. I think it's best left at that.
Perfect. Then we'll leave it there.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. There are no more questions. I'm sorry. Thank you all for coming tonight. You will receive the proper notifications, like we said, like our legal counsel is telling us. So I appreciate everyone coming, and I'd like to call this meeting adjourned at 7:29 p.m. Thank you.
7:29. 2-9.
Do we